Hey, it's Captain Roger. Let's go for a walk. We're into the Book of Judges, which is like an action movie, but we've hit the story of Gideon, which is more like a character drama than a special effects extravaganza. I mentioned before that Gideon is, let's say, cautious in his walk with God. He didn't believe the angel of God was who he said until there was a miracle that got done. He was willing to knock down the idols God told him to, but only after getting 10 of his friends to help. And even then, they snuck out in the middle of the night in hopes they wouldn't be seen while they did it. And then, in response to the Midianites, who'd been keeping Israel trapped in poverty and slavery, inviting their friends in to help loot the countryside with them, Gideon calls the nearby tribes to gather under his banner at God's request. But then Gideon's like, well, hang on a minute. How do I know you're really going to save us like you say? It's almost as if he's saying, yes, Lord, I am behind you almost 40%, maybe. You know, kind of like when you feel certain that God is leading you to do or say a certain thing, but that thing seems like it's going to be hard to do, or maybe it's going to make you look like a Jesus freak or a zealot. And so you're like, well, I would do that, but I'd better pray about it first. And then you go home and you never really give it any more thought because the moment is past. Yeah. If you'd prefer to believe that's just me who does that, I'm cool with that. But we both know you're lying because we all do it. Now Gideon took it at least a little bit further. He set up a test for God. He did this thing where he put out a hunk of fleece. That's goat fur, by the way. He puts this hunk of fleece out and he prays for a sign. And when he woke up the next morning, the fleece was soaking wet and the ground underneath it was bone dry. This is, of course, completely impossible. And you think Gideon would be all in at this point. That's because you've forgotten that the Book of Judges is more about how people fail to walk with God than it is about how they succeed. Gideon needs more. So he puts the hunk of fleece back out and prayed the next night too. And when he woke up in the morning this time, the ground was wet, but the goat fur was dry, which is of course impossible because those things wick up moisture like my kids suck down Yoo-hoo. You just can't stop it. By the way, this is not the story of the golden fleece, as so many seem to think. That is a myth about Jason and the Argonauts, by whom I mean the Greek heroes, not the early aughts techno chill band. Now, Gideon seems not to be reassured by the moistureless goat fur. He's going to go on doubting God, no matter how improbable the signs he asked for were. Again, just like we do. I love the movie Bruce Almighty, where Bruce keeps praying for a sign, and they keep coming, one right after another, after another, after another, and then finally a whole truck full of signs goes by, but he still doesn't get it. That's Gideon in this passage. And that's most of us, most of the time, frankly. We walk without much faith that God is with us. We'll see how this turns out tomorrow. For today, I need to exercise the faith to finish the walk I'm on. Grace and peace to you all.